Formula E returned for its historic 10th season, and the second and final season of the original Gen 3 car. Nia was now ERT, Jaguar is now entirely Kiwi, and Vision rehired Cassidy's old teammate to cope with his loss, Sam Bird comes to a place he's wanted, Mahindra would have had the strongest lineup in the Gen 2 era, Degrassi gave up, Normanado got a promotion, and Oliver Rowland exists again. Oh, and Formula E absolutely killed their growth with their new TV deal. Look in the comment section of anything Formula E related posted over the last year. Fix this, Formula E. Preseason testing returned to Valencia with Jaguar storming out of gate fast. Robin Freins won the simulation test race, while Williams' advanced engineering quite literally blew up. Oh, and a tag charge that thing we wanted to introduce last season is now being introduced to Misano. Probably. At the opening race in Mexico, literally nothing happened. Wehrlein won in a nice looking purple Porsche and beat some illegal throttle map allegations. That's about it. And after a failed bid from Evans led to Dennis pulling away at Diria, it seemed that race was going the same way. Fortunately though, we retreated to a 4-way fight for P2 that went right down to the last few corners, with the Jaguars swapping for the last podium spot. Rowland scored his first podium since Season 8, but was passed in the start with Freins making it 3 wide. It was Cassidy though that scored his and Jaguar's first win of the season, leaping to the points lead 3 rounds in. Also, keep an eye on Antonio Felix da Costa, currently off to the worst ever start to his Formula E career. Formula E introduced the new Manufacturer's Trophy, whose sole purpose is definitely not to make sure Jaguar or Porsche finally wins something. They also partnered with DTM to host the NXT Gen Cup as a new support series. At Sao Paulo, the infamous Peloton made its first appearance this year, but this time it seemed perfectly balanced, allowing the drivers to race while not entirely focused on energy. And late in the race, it was a straight duel between Evans and his former teammate Bird. Despite being down on energy, Bird sent his McLaren to the outside of Evans' Jaguar and took the lead with just a single corner left in the race, snapping a 37-race losing streak and scoring the Neal McLaren team's first ever FE victory. Even my crippling Bird bias aside, this might just be my favorite Formula E race of all time, and that's not even mentioning Rowland's incredible last corner move to secure P3. Lola announces it's joining Formula E in Season 11 alongside Yamaha, adding yet another thing to their family of products. Formula E took to Tokyo for the very first time, and was back to traditional street race shenanigans. This race was another duel in terms of speed and strategy, this time between Rowland and Gunther, again going down to the last lap. Gunther came out on top, although not without incident. Also, Mortara, despite driving an incredible race for Mahindra, earned the Formula E Stupid Penalty of the Race award. Psych, Formula E's connection to the electric Mini Cooper series is officially axed. After half the grid nearly died last year in Rome, Formula E decided to go to a much more fan-friendly circuit, a MotoGP track half an hour away from the closest big city. Oh, and remember a tag charge that got delayed to Misano? Yeah, let's push that to, later. Also, Porsche is now testing Nico Müller, potentially hinting at da Costa losing his seat. Extreme Peloton. And at the end of the day, it was da Costa who managed his energy perfectly and crossed the line, taking his first win of the season. An incredible recovery, considering all that he had been through. Rowland scores his first win since Season 6, and a fantastic P4 for Dan Ticktum. More Peloton carnage, and what looked like a surefire double victory for Rowland turned disastrous, with his Nissan grinding to a halt in the final lap due to an energy miscalculation fault. Wehrlein would get some redemption for Porsche, while Nico Müller would be absolutely robbed of scoring a podium in the apt at the very last second by Cassidy. The Gen 3 Evo is finally unveiled, with softer tires, all-wheel drive, and a 0 to 60 of 1.82 seconds. But most importantly, it doesn't look like a Doritos chip anymore. Also, hi Gen 1 Evo front wing. Sam Bird continues to hurt me, by hurting his hand again. Taylor Bernard becomes the youngest Formula E driver ever, Mortara becomes one with a wall, and the Jaguars play an incredible strategy game that allows both to take their attack modes easily and finish the race 1-2, with Cassidy allowing Evans to win. I wonder if you'll regret that later. The FIA's 2 kids fought at the dinner table again, so the Berlin round would roll off without 4 of the regular drivers. Mortara rockets to pole, while Evans misses attack mode. That there is foreshadowing. Halfway through the race, Nick Cassidy sat in P21. Would you believe me if I said that he ended up winning the race by almost 5 seconds? Peloton racing is one heck of a drug. Nato sends Fenestraz into the barriers, earning a round of applause. Surprisingly consistent battle for the lead throughout the race, with da Costa earning his his first win of the season. Also, Taylor Bernard scored double points this weekend. Formula E returns to its birthplace in China for another Peloton show. This went down to the wire between Evans and Wehrlein, with the former taking the victory, much to the dismay of his teammate Cassidy, who barely held on for P3.
Okay, so I'm supporting till the end of the race, is that what you're telling me?
That's the instruction at the moment, as it's purple 5.
A different cast of characters led a calmer race Sunday, with da Costa holding off first-time podium finisher Jake Hughes and Norman Nato, with Hughes scoring McLaren's first of 3 runner-up finishes on the greatest day of racing. Rowland gets sick, ending his title bid, and Diaz Penske for the second year in a row are caught spying at Portland. Cassidy came into Portland with a 25-point lead, and after a well-executed race was leading on the penultimate lap. Want to see his title lead evaporate?
5-second time penalty to consider in this one. So, wide there for Cassidy. That's a mistake. He's off onto the grass. He
Evans gets through to take the checkers, but gets an incredibly stupid penalty, so Da Costa wins again. The McLarens are absolutely decimated, with Bird getting caught on Wehrlein's front wing that absolutely should have been a penalty. The pits haven't been this busy since Season 4, and Da Costa takes his 3rd win in a row, and secures a seat for Season 11. Heading into London, Cassidy held a 12-point lead over Evans. What he really needed was a good qualifying run.
Corners, and is Cassidy, the championship leader, going to be out? But when he goes to the top of the pile, Cassidy to the line, he's out of qualifying!
Jake Dennis commits many acts of terrorism, while Fenestraz gets vengeance on Nato for the Berlin incident. An intense fight for the lead ends in Wehrlein taking the victory over Evans, while Cassidy goes through war to scrape 6 points. Now heading into the finale, the top 3 are separated by just 7 points, the top 2 by just 3. It's honestly anyone's title to win at this point. All 3 title contenders qualified top 4, and after literally the coolest intro to a finale ever, the race began. Through the attack mode shuffles, Cassidy found himself P3 behind Evans and Wehrlein, and with them needing to take their attacks, it seemed like an almost guaranteed title for Cassidy once they did. Until...
3rd places, it's not working out now for Nick Cassidy in the special corners and spins it
Puncture, rear right puncture for Nick Cassidy.
Nick Cassidy and debris on the track, and Gunter's front wing's gone as well. Cassidy into the pits, championship over for Nick Cassidy.
Cassidy's championship was over, but Jaguar still had a Kiwi in the race. It was down to whoever would be able to cycle through their attack modes the cleanest. With only a little time left in the race, both armed their attack, and while Wehrlein activated it, Evans missed it. From there, it was over. Evans fell farther back, scrambling to make the timer run down before he finished the race. Meanwhile, Pascal Wehrlein took the checkered flag, winning the championship for Tag Heuer Porsche. They wouldn't win the manufacturer's trophy though after Da Costa earned a penalty for the Cassidy incident. That would be the consolation prize for Jaguar. Honestly, looking at their photos is kinda funny. They look so dead inside. Oh, also, Oliver Rowland won the race. Thought I should mention that. What a season. That championship finale may have just been the best in Formula E history, and all the title contenders had their highs and lows. I will say though, I do feel like this season may have a slight asterisk next to it, a bit like Season 7, simply for the number of Peloton races messing up the standings. That being said though, the racing in Sao Paulo, Monaco, Diriyah, and London more than made up for it. An incredible year. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next season.